Welcome back, everyone. Right now, it's my absolute honor to speak with Perdita Felicien. She's joining us virtually and is a two-time Olympian, a world champion, a national champion hurdler. She is joining us to talk all about her new book as well as her hosting job, which is with BYU TV's All-Round Champion. Perdita, thank you so much for being here today.
Good to be back. How are you?
It's great. It's great to have you on once again, and there's so many great things to talk about. I want to start first, though, with your book. Tell me more about this. It's a story about struggle, about your mother, about growing up. I'd love to hear more about how we can read it and what we can expect to hear about, and ultimately why you decided to write this book.
Yeah, so My Mother's Daughter is available wherever books are sold, in bookstore, independent bookstores, on Amazon, on Indigo. And really the story talks about my mother's immigration story to Canada, which is incredible. She's a teen mother. She's pregnant on the small island of St. Lucia. She meets an affluent white family on the beach who happen to be vacationing. She asked them, "Do you need a babysitter?" They say, "Yeah." And that created a friendship, and they brought her to Canada. And her life really takes off there, but it's paved with so many difficulties. I'm along with her for that ride. She has to leave my other siblings at home. But we really talk about our experiences with homelessness, our experiences with poverty and displacement and racism. And you see all the figurative hurdles my mother had to overcome. And then you see me become this world-class, hurdler. So me overcoming like literal, obstacles on the track. So I weave the past and the present in my sports story together with my mother's story in this book, My Mother's Daughter.
It's an incredibly emotional journey and a story that I'm so grateful that you are sharing. Your mom had to struggle with so much, as you mentioned, and she even had to decide whether or not to keep you and to raise you. How much did her struggles and those early struggles for you growing up, how much did that affect who you are today? And did it push you to become the best? Did it put extra pressure on you? How do you think that's really made you the person you are?
Yeah, that's a really, really great question. And, for a long time, I really knew that, as a 5 and 6-year-old, you see your mother crying. And I realized that her life was hard from a very young age. And I never wanted to be on her list of difficulties. And I think as I was writing My Mother's Daughter, I went to the University of Chicago's Gleacher Center to work for 2 years towards a creative nonfiction certificate. And while I was there, honestly, that's when I realized, oh my word, like everything that you've gone on to achieve and everything that you've wanted to achieve was absolutely to make your mother proud, but it was actually more. It really was, and I don't know if this is good or bad. It was almost like a big fat, forget all of you in the past who said she wouldn't be anything, she couldn't be anything, and her kids couldn't be anything, right? Because, my father deserted her, we had nothing. And my mom always had to deal with the fact that she was, a single mother and her children were fatherless. And so I really do realize that, yes, it informed me, but it really was fuel for me. It was something that I used to make my mother proud, but almost as a beacon and almost like an emblem to everybody else. Emblem is the word I'm looking for. An emblem to everybody else that everything that you said she couldn't do and we couldn't achieve, we're doing. And so to me, that is really what this story reveals for me.
She proved everyone wrong, as you mentioned. You proved everyone wrong as well, but there's so much more than that to this story. Your mom's been your biggest cheerleader there for you. How did she feel having you write these stories? How was she handling this, kind of more of the spotlight being on her as opposed to on you? And was she a little nervous about putting this all out there?
Yeah, in 2014, I met with my whole family. We had a meeting at my sister's house, and I'm like, I'm moving to Chicago because I'm going to go into this creative writing program, and I'm going to write this book. And I need your permission, and I need your blessing. And everyone in my family said yes. My mother said yes as well. And if she had said no, the honest truth is I would have never started on this journey. For my mother, I think, of course she's nervous, right? Because, we're from the islands, we're Caribbean, and, like many cultures, you don't spill dirty laundry, right? You don't share family drama. And this story really reveals a lot. But this is what my mother said to me. She said that day, there's no shame in a woman choosing to rewrite their story, and I've chosen to rewrite mine. I was a child witness to domestic abuse and at my mother's suffering. And she realized that if I could share this story with even just one woman who was in her circumstances, maybe it would make her feel less alone and less ashamed. And maybe it would make a woman who's going through it know that I need to leave. I can break free from this, right? So she gave me her blessing for those two reasons. She had rewritten her story and she wanted other women to be able to rewrite theirs and have her as an example to do it. So it did come with some nerves, though, I gotta be honest, because we do tell a lot of things that I've never shared, even as a world-class athlete, interviewed by, the world's press, hundreds of times, even, thousands of times, even, let's say. And this is the first.
And your career has been very, very successful. You've done really incredible things. And you mentioned that you are carried by your mom's dreams and that her belief in you really has sustained you throughout everything you've done as an athlete, the great highs and the great lows. How much of your career is in the book, and where do you focus most of your attention on within your career, and how that relates to growing up and your mom and your story?
Yeah, so people know me, like you said, I'm a world-class hurdler, I'm a national record holder, I'm a Hall of Famer, I'm all these things. And so I think when you see the name Perdita Felicien and she's written a book, you automatically think, oh, that's gonna be a sports story. And the truth is, like you said, the story really is my mother's story. And you have to wait until halfway through, if you're a sports fan of mine, to really get to the nitty-gritty of my career. But I take you through the evolution of my life. So you see what it means for me to be at the Olympics, to be the favorite. And this is not a spoiler, but we know I went to the Olympics in 2004. I was the reigning world champion. I'd never lost all summer. Then I crash at the first hurdle and I fall. And you see what that extreme high of that moment and the extreme low of it means to me. I take you through my career at the University of Illinois, where I was named, star athlete of the year 3 times in a row. I take you through that experience and my experience as a pro. And so for me, this story is about the figurative hurdles and the literal hurdles my mother and my family had to take together. If you are a sport fan, which I know I have tons of them, there is tons in there for you. But I think I do a fine balance with showing you my origin story. So when you meet Perdita, the track star and the athlete and who I become, you understand her a lot more.
This book has been out for a few weeks at least. How does it feel having it out there?
You know what? It feels like I run like a big race and I've trained so hard for it and then I've won, right? Because it's an instant national bestseller. It's, been being picked up by a bunch of book clubs. It's being well received. And I'm just really, really proud of that. For me, it just feels like, it was delayed for a year based on COVID. It was supposed to come out in 2020. And I wondered, I'm like, are people going to care? Is it still going to be well received? And it has. So I kind of feel like I just won a really big race. Not the Olympics quite, right? It's not the same. But it does feel like a really huge life accomplishment. And I'm so proud.
It absolutely is. And congratulations. It is a great accomplishment. And I also want to mention that you're very, very busy. You have many other things going on. Tell me a little bit more about BYU TV's All Around Champion that you're a host of.
Yeah, so I'm the host of All Around Champion, like you said, and we're right now in the thick of season 3. So you need to download the BYU TV app so you can watch season 3 and binge watch the past episodes. I don't think this is a spoiler, but I'm gonna let you know, we've just wrapped up about a month ago, season 4, and there's a rumor that they're casting for season 5. So you wanna check that out online if you're an athlete or have a child or, a grandparent of a budding athlete who might wanna join the cast. But I really love the show. Season 3 right now, we have inline racing, we have tennis, trampoline, soccer, gymnastics one more time. It's just really been a labor of love for me to really guide these athletes through another season, 10 athletes, different sports. It's really, really exciting. In season 3, if you've watched the last 2, I'll let you know that season 3 is quite different in that we bring some new elements, some new advantages to the table. So the athletes really don't know what's coming. There's a lot more twists and turns, and we just gotta keep them on their toes. What can I say?
And you're the ideal host for the show because these young athletes are having to go through so much, and they have their own journey and their own past, and they have a lot of fear, and they really want to triumph over struggle. And you're just an excellent example of that. Perdita, how can we find out more information about you, your book, about All Around Champion, all the things?
Absolutely. So my book, My Mother's Daughter, is available from your local bookstore, from Amazon.com, from Indigo.ca, anywhere fine books are sold. And you can find me on my website, PerditaFelicien.com, or at Perdita Felicien on like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all over the internet, basically. And if you want to watch All Around Champion, we'd love your support. You can go to byutv.org, and then you can also go and download their free app to watch. Everything is there. And of course, they're on Instagram too. Like, they're so interactive at All Around Champion TV. So check us out there. Hopefully you got all the links.
Well, Perdita Felicien, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you once again, having you here on Park City Television. Hopefully next time it will be right here in person. Your book is incredible, and so is your show, All Around Champion. Very inspiring individual, and we're once again very grateful that you spoke with us and spent some time with us here on Park City Television. We'll be back with more after this.